Hi everyone, sorry if my voice sounds really weird. I'm still getting over a cold at the minute. I was just going to make a video today updating you guys with what's been going on with the pets and some really sad news that we've got. So about a week or so ago we actually lost Shindig really unexpectedly. It's difficult to explain what went on because I really don't know. It was really sudden and out of the blue, and when you own a lot of small animals are susceptible to a lot of health issues, and I feel like they go downhill really quickly compared to a lot of other animals. When they're good, and then they can suddenly be gone in a bit of an instant. So it can be really hard to come to terms with it, I think, because you don't have time almost to process what's going on. So a few days before, we had her out on the grass and she was just normal. We didn't see any issues with her at all, and then all of a sudden she just went off her food and stopped coming out of her house. So obviously we were really worried. Shindig's always been, you know, a real big fan of food, and she was always, you know, she would always eat all the fresh grass and veggies and whatever we put in front of her. So for her to stop eating was a major concern. So we obviously took her straight to the vets. We were worried maybe that she'd eaten something and had a blockage, or so they checked for that and said that she was fine, her teeth were fine. They gave her sort of a check all over and couldn't see why there was an issue. So this actually happened on a bank holiday, so we had to see the out of hours vet, so I feel like it wasn't quite as thorough as I'd like, and they couldn't do as many tests and things that I would like, which makes it more difficult. But yeah, they couldn't find anything wrong with her. So they gave her an injection that was supposed to sort of kickstart her gut, I suppose, to get her eating again and sort of kickstart her metabolism. And they also gave us some medicine for her to try and help her start eating again. So she was meant to be on that for a few days, and they said that she should pick up after a few days. So the next day she was eating a little bit, but she was still off her food and she still wasn't quite right. So we were syringe feeding her some food as well, just to make sure that she was getting enough. She was eating a bit by herself, but I knew that it wasn't, you know, enough for a rabbit of that size. So we were supplementing that with syringe feeding her. She was drinking, but yeah, like I say, she just wasn't quite right. So we sort of left it that day and thought, well, the medicine wouldn't have kicked in yet, so we'll leave it that day and see how she is. So the following day, she still wasn't right. So we were syringe feeding her some more. She sort of fluctuated between perking up, and we thought, oh, maybe it's working, maybe she's starting to get better. And then she would sort of go shy and quiet and hide away again. So it was really emotionally draining, because it's quite up and down between, oh yes, she's doing all right, she's really not. And that night she really wasn't right. I mean, we brought her inside and we set up a little pen for her in the kitchen, which is quite warm, and we just cuddled with her for most of the night, and we were syringe feeding her again, and she was just letting us cuddle her, which is not like Shindig. She's not a cuddly bunny. She was very much independent, and she would try and jump off your lap as soon as you had her on there, and she wasn't really cuddly. She liked doing her own thing, and she would be off exploring rather than cuddling. She would let you stroke her, and she would run up to you, but she wasn't a lap bunny. So that was quite unusual, and she just really wasn't right. So we thought we would rush her to the vets first thing in the morning, because, you know, we'd given it enough time for the medicine to have kicked in, and we just thought, you know, this really isn't right, we'll go back and we'll push for more tests, and you know, so we left her that night inside in the kitchen where she was warm and comfortable, and put some towels down for her to sleep on and made it as comfortable as possible. And like I say, we stayed up with her most of the night. So then we went to bed, and we thought, well, we'll go back to the vets tomorrow, see what they say, and see what we can do for her. So, but we knew she wasn't right. And then when we woke up in the morning, she had just passed away in the night. She was just, yeah, she'd just passed away in the night. So, yeah, so that was really, really, really upsetting for us. It was really unexpected. But it was actually sort of a very similar way to the way that her sister Ruby died. If you've been following our channel for a while, then you'll know that Shindig used to live with a bunny called Ruby, and yeah, she went sort of the same way. She was absolutely fine, and then she just one day collapsed, and then went off her food, and just died. So I think in the end her stomach flipped, and there was nothing more we could do. So it was a bit of a shock, because Shindig was only 5 years old, which isn't old for a bunny at all. They can sort of live 10-12 years, but we did get her from a pet shop, and I don't think she was bred very well. And considering her sister died in a very similar way, I think it was just honestly her breeding, and I don't think we did anything wrong. When we went to the vets, they said she was a healthy weight, her teeth were good, she was just overall a very healthy rabbit. We'd never had any other health issues with her, and it was just, yeah, I don't know what to say. It was very sudden, and we weren't expecting it. I think you always think that you could have done more, especially with it being sort of a bank holiday, and I couldn't see the vet that I would probably choose to see normally. So, but I feel like we did everything that we could have, really. Sat up with her syringe, feeding her, and yeah, so this is not an easy video. Sorry, I'm getting a bit upset, because it was very unexpected, and I just thought I'd make this video to let you guys know. So I know a lot of you will probably wonder what we're going to do with Heidi. So for the moment, we're planning on just taking out the divider in the shed, and she can have the whole shed to herself for the minute. We're sort of toying with the possibility of finding her a friend. It's difficult because Heidi was quite an aggressive rabbit, from what I've seen with trying to get her and Shindig to interact together. I don't know if it was just a clash of personalities, or I'm not sure. So we are going to be exploring the possibility of getting her a friend, but I wouldn't want to bring another rabbit home and have them fight and have them separated again, because that's quite emotional. You want so much for them to be friends, and watching them sort of be aggressive with each other is really difficult, and it's quite stressful for them as well. So we're just going to see how Heidi does, and whether she misses the companionship through the bars, because rabbits do benefit from companionship, even if it's sort of just through the bars. They like having someone else around and having the company. So we're going to see how she does, and we are going to look into that possibility. But for the minute, we're just going to open up the shed to Heidi and let her have all that space, and just spoil her a bit for the minute and focus on her, and then see how we do. The other issue is, because we didn't adopt Heidi or buy her. She literally, I don't know if you've seen the videos from when we first got Heidi, but she literally was just dumped in our garden, or somehow appeared in our garden. We suspect that she was dumped, but she could have, she could have escaped and sort of wandered into our garden. We're not sure any of her history, any of her medical we haven't got any vet records. We don't know how old she is. So we suspect that she's sort of a fairly young bunny, but I've got no idea. So I wouldn't really want to bring another young bunny home and then for maybe in a year to lose Heidi, and then we've got another bunny who's got to go through that loss. So, and then we could bring home an older bunny, but then the older bunny could go before Heidi, and then which you would always have with animals anyway, but not knowing her age at all, it would be quite difficult to find her a friend of a similar age, which is what we would want to do for her. So I'm not sure. We are thinking about it, but it's a bit early days at the minute. But I just wanted you guys to know that we are going to be thinking about Heidi as well and how she's going to cope with it, and so don't worry about that. And yeah, so I think I'm going to end this video here because I've told you guys anyway, it's not a nice video to have to make, but it's one of the downsides of owning animals. Especially I've got quite a lot of animals, which means that I've got to go through quite a lot of losses at some point or another. So yeah, so thank you guys for always being so supportive, and I will speak to you soon with hopefully some happier news. Bye.